Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discovery Day. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, for making free family fun possible. So let's go ahead and jump right in. This is our museum. We're located in downtown Oklahoma City. Here at the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, we believe in telling Oklahoma's story through its people. So we tell the inspiring story of Oklahomans day after day. And so today, the member we are featuring is Oklahoma Hall of Fame member George Miksch Sutton. Dr. Sutton was an ornithologist. An ornithologist is somebody who studies birds. He was born in Nebraska and he curated birds from 1931 to 1945. So he was active for 15 years or so. He began expeditions to Oklahoma in 1932. And his writings and illustrations on birds became well known internationally, and he was recognized for his humanitarian approach to science. So he treated his animals very kindly. Dr. Sutton served as the University of Oklahoma research professor in zoology and as ornithologist for the Oklahoma Biological Survey. So he was very important to the foundations of Oklahoma and very important to discovering a lot of our early animal species. And so we're inspired today by Dr. Sutton, and we're going to read Never Play Music Right Next to the Zoo by John Lithgow, illustrated by Lisa Hernandez. And so I'm going to go ahead and get my screen switched over for everyone, get us ready for story time. Alrighty. And so, like I said, we are reading Never Play Music Right Next to the Zoo by John Lithgow. I went to a concert when I was a lad, no older than many of you. I sat with my sister, my mother, my dad at a band shell right next to the zoo. So there they are. They're all going into the zoo. They're waiting in line for the free concert. The soft summer air was so balmy and sweet, and the program was running so long that I found myself falling asleep in my seat despite all the music and song. So he's asleep in his seat while everybody's up there playing. All at once, the conductor erupted with rage. A band of wild animals was storming the stage. Uh-oh, here comes the stampede of animals. Some of them have already made it by, it looks like. There they all are, still stampeding. Oh, children, remember, whatever you may do, never play music right next to the zoo. They'll burst from their cages, each beast and each bird, desperate to play all the music they've heard. So the animals want to play the music. The lions and the elephants, the bears and the raccoons will steal away the trumpets, the flutes, and bassoons. So there's the musician. She's fighting over her instrument and her music from the bear and the raccoons. They'll replace the musicians and chase them away. Then they'll sit in the band shell and play. So the animals are going to play the concert. The monkeys played fiddle, the bison played bass, the percussions were manned by the camel. The yak played the sax until red in the face, a surprisingly musical mammal. So there he is, he's playing the sax. The bonobo played the oboe, the ferret the flute, the jackal attacked the bassoon. The hippo had chosen the tuba to toot by the light of the silvery moon. That's a hippo in a tutu. Siberian tigers, Mongolian goats, a superabundance of bestial notes, even a flamingo. That's my favorite. As the animal orchestra filled up the air With chaos, confusion, and clatter, the audience calmly continued to stare, as if nothing at all was the matter. So he's shocked, but everybody else is just enjoying the animal band. I trembled with terror, suppressing a scream, while my parents just sat there enraptured. Oh, how I wished it was only a dream, and these creatures were all safely recaptured. So there they are. They're all enjoying the show except for him. He's the only one that seems to notice that there's all the animals are playing in the band. But since by the minute I'd grown less afraid, I decided to sit back and watch while they played. So since nobody else cared, he was going to relax and watch the show. So here he is. He's even got the snake wrapped around his neck. They're sitting in the audience with the raccoons, the birds. The conductor has decided to take a seat next to them. And there's their band. That looks like a fun band. They finished and each put their instrument down, then bowed and descended the stage. Each shed their tuxedo or evening gown and hurried back to their cage. So there they are, they're bowing to the audience. Then each reminisced, so grateful and glad, so full of contentment and pride. My mother, meanwhile, strolled away with my dad, but my sister remained by my side. So his parents are leaving him. She tugged on my sweater and spoke in my ear. You'd better wake up or we're leaving you here. Uh-oh. Oh, children, remember, whatever you may do, never play music right next to the zoo. They'll burst from their cages, each beast and each bird, desperate to play all the music they've heard. No, never play music right next to the zoo, and pay strict attention to rule number 2. Bear it in mind for the rest of your days. Don't fall asleep when an orchestra plays. So he dreamt that all the animals were part of the orchestra and they were playing. So that was an awesome story. I definitely did not see that ending coming. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into story time. So today we are gonna be making our very own snake out of our very own paper chain. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started with that. What we're gonna need for that today, we're gonna need 2 pieces of construction paper, 1, 2. We're gonna need a half a sheet of construction paper, whatever color you prefer. We're gonna need 12 glue dots. We're gonna need 2 different shaped googly eyes because I want my snake to look friendly. And then 1 piece of red tissue paper for our snake's tongue. Additionally, we're gonna need a pair of scissors and some glue. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch back over to my camera so that we can see what I am working with. Awesome, so our first step, we're gonna take our 2 pieces of paper and we're gonna stack them on top of each other like this. Awesome. And so we're gonna draw where we are going to cut for our snake. So my first line is gonna kind of be down the middle of the paper. So that serves as a good line. My next one is going to be right here. And so that gives me, and then my other one's going to be on the other side. And see, they're about equal length apart. I just want my snakes to be consistent in shape. And I'm going to do 1 more line on the other side of each. And I think that this will get me set up. And started on the body of my snake. So I'm going to cut, and we want 8 strips of paper. So you can use whatever color combination you want. For me, I'm going to alternate the color. So I'm going to do 4 yellow and 4 orange. There are all sorts of colorful snakes in the world, so I want to make mine a colorful, friendly snake. However, you can make yours whatever color you want. It can look however intimidating, friendly, scary, however you want. All you need are just 8 strips of paper to make the chain. And we're going to make the chain, and that's going to serve as the body of our snake. So I'm not quite cutting along my lines. I got a little off, but I'm doing my best to keep them about equal in size. So I think here I'll be able to cut along this line. So even though I didn't draw straight, that's okay. I'm not following the line. So I have 6, so I need to do one more cut, and that'll get me what I need. And so this is my last. Awesome. So these pieces of paper are going to make the chain, which is going to be the body of our snake. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that because that's going to take a little bit. And so what you're going to do is you're going to make a paper chain. So this first one is going to serve as your link. And so you're going to put a glue dot here. And you don't have to use a glue dot. You can use whatever you want to secure it. You can use a piece of tape. You can use glue. I'm going to use glue dots. And you're just going to wrap it over itself, and just like this. And this is going to serve as the first link in your chain. So next, you're going to take, for me, I'm going to do an orange piece of paper because, like I said, I'm going to alternate mine. That's what I want to do. And so then again, you're going to wrap it around your first link. You're going to put the glue dot on one end of the piece of paper. You're going to peel that part off. You're going to wrap it around itself, making sure that that link is still in there. And so that's how you're going to link it. So here's my first couple links. So I have 6 more to do. So I'm just going to take my time. It's going to take a little bit, but this is going to serve as the body of my snake, like I said. And so I'm going to have an orange and yellow snake. Mine's probably a tropical snake of some kind. But did you know that we have even we have orange and yellow snakes here living in the area? I call it corn snake. We also have milk snakes. We have all sorts of kinds of snakes living in Oklahoma. So maybe this is going to be an Oklahoma snake. Who knows? But say I'm just making progress on my chain, getting that all worked out. And so this, like I said, is going to serve as the body of our snake. And it's going to be 8 chain lengths of paper long. And you can do whatever colors you want again. I'm alternating mine because I think that that's going to look the most colorful. But you can do whatever you want. You can do all one color, however your paper works. There's no right or wrong. There's all sorts of snakes. They come in all sorts of different colors and shapes in the wild. Awesome. So I have a little bit more left to do. Making really good progress though. So does anybody have a favorite animal that is a snake maybe? Say. If not, if you don't have any friends that like snakes as their favorite animal, maybe somebody has a snake as a pet. Say there are some snakes, believe it or not, that can be kept as pets. Say I don't have a snake, I just have a dog. But there are some that are safe enough to be kept as pets. So I have two more pieces of paper to do for the link. And so almost done with the construction of the body of my snake. So mine's about 8 lengths long. Not sure what kind of snake it's going to be today. But I want mine to be a friendly snake. That's all I care about. So, say last piece. We're almost done. Almost ready for the next step. So I get that secured on there good. Awesome. So that's all wrapped around that piece of paper. Secure it to itself. Awesome. So here's the chain that's going to be the body of my snake. But the next thing that my snake is going to need is my snake is going to need a head. And so I'm going to draw my snake's head on this piece of paper. And so I'm going to do a big wide head, kind of like that. And I think I said big and wide. I want my snake to look friendly. And so I think having a big wide head like that is going to make my snake look friendly. So I'm going to cut out around that. Be sure to save some of the brown piece of paper because it's going to make the tail of your snake. So I'm going to cut around where I drew. And then once I get it cut out, I'm going to work on the other features that go on my snake's face, on my snake's head. Awesome. So I got my snake all cut out. So here's my snake's head. So the next thing my snakes need, it needs some eyes. And so I'm going to use some glue dots for these. And so I'm going to attach them to my snake's head right where I want the eyes to go. And you can use a glue stick, a glue dot. The big thing is just if you use a glue dot, press really hard down on the eyes to make sure they get stuck. So I'm going to put my other eye on the other side of my brown piece of paper. Not quite where I wanted to get it, but because I didn't press down, now I press down. Now we're good. There we go. So my snake has its eyes. The last thing it needs is my snake needs its tongue. And so I'm going to take my tongue, the piece of tissue paper, and I'm going to cut it in half very carefully because snakes have forked tongues. And so this is going to make it look like a snake's tongue. So I'm going to flip my head over. I'm going to put a little glue on the back right there. You can use a glue dot if you have an extra one, but I'm saving my final 2 glue dots for connecting my head and my tail to my snake, to the chain. And so there's my head. Like I said, there's its forked tongue. And so I'm going to attach it to my chain. And I'm going to attach it to this end here. And so I'm going to put a glue dot right here. And that is how my head is going to stick to the body for my snake. And so that's going to go right here. And so I'm going to take my head and I'm going to press it on there. Awesome. So there's my snake's head. Maybe you want to draw some designs or something on your snake because he's a pattern snake. Give him some texture. But we have one more part before we get too in depth on that. And we're going to use this to make our snake's tail. And so I'm going to cut along this edge right here. But I'm going to try to make it into a point on this end. So I'm going to trace that out. But I'm going to draw where I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut this out. Best I can along that line. And same thing with over here, just kind of cut this out. Awesome, so this is going to be my snake's tail. And so you're just going to wrap it around this last link and make it into a circle. And so you're going to take the glue dot and you're going to put it on this end because I want that part to look like my snake's tail. And so I want that part to stick out a little bit extra. And so I'm going to tie it tight so that part just sticks out. And it'll kind of look like a rattle. But it's just my snake's tail. I'm not going to draw any designs on it, make it look like a rattle. And so here's my snake. Let me go ahead and switch my screen over to let y'all see it. Awesome. So this is my snake, like I said, my chain snake. And so this is what we're going to be making for craft time today. Thank you so much for joining me here for Discovery Day. We had a great time with story time and building our snake. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Bye.